I welcome you all on behalf of RSVK, Rishi Samskriti Vidya Kendra, all our team members, Manoj Ji, and all the participants. Thank you, Dipika. It's such a pleasure to invite you and to read your introduction. Thanks for agreeing to our request to grace our podcast with your presence. So I'll read a formal introduction for Dipika. Dipika is a powerhouse healer and a spiritual guide who integrates mind, body, and soul in her transformational 0 point repeat sessions. She is an amazing acupuncturist for over 20 years. Dipika's healing journey began following a road accident at the age of 19, which was, as she declares, when Krishna showed up for her. Dipika practices a combination of acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, Taoist stone medicine, the Egyptian science of biogeometry, and theta healing. She's born in Qatar to Indian parents, but she has lived in Spain, Egypt, Turkey, Indonesia, UK, and Thailand, and is internationally renowned for her intuitive work with both adults and children. And it's amazing to have you, Dipika, since I have been with you and I've seen you how intensely you work and the kind of knowledge you possess. I'm sure the participants are going to love what you are going to share, and you'll also love interacting with our participants today. So once again, a warm welcome, and I hand it over to Manoj.
Yes, Deepika, we just met some time back, so I'm also very, very curious and great student. I'm all the time learning, and I would love to learn from you in the science of healing. Uh, just you must have just seen a little video of Guruji's pledge. We are very blessed to have a master, living Zen master, I would call him. He left his body in 2014, but spent 25 years with him, just understanding consciousness, understanding how to be in the state of samadhi. We all have learned this Siddha Samadhi Yoga. That means samadhi means dhi is the intellect, and sama means samatva. So when equanimous intellect, we are gifted by Guruji for that. And based on that, of course, lot of understanding on life, on healing, which after meditation healing happens. But yes, there are so many modules, so many modalities, and we would love to hear. Even you had a car accident at the age of 19, and then your journey started inwards, so we would like to start it from there. But yes, how much of a time we spent together, you are extremely warm, compassion flows from you, and I think that's a very important part of our process of healing. And we'll hear from you, Deepika. So eager, and you can start with your journey.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here and very honored to be part of a very long line of incredible speakers and healers and teachers. So thank you, Sarika, for bringing this together, and to Manoj for having me here. Yes, I mean, the car accident when I was 19 is something that brought me back on track, which is why I always say that it's when Krishna showed up. Yeah. I had from a very young age known that I was going to be in medicine of some kind and in a healer, but what I have gone on to learn is not something that we were taught about at school. So as I kind of lost my way a little bit in my teen years, I had this car accident, and it literally put me back on track because I couldn't carry on with my life the way it was. I was on a path that was not mine. And in that car accident, I was hurt quite badly. I couldn't walk properly, and I couldn't stand without pain for 6 months. And instead of going to the gym and working hard and living fast, I had to stop, and I discovered yoga. So that's when the journey inwards began, and I started to meet people from that line, osteopaths and acupuncturists and physiotherapists. And I started to understand that medicine was possible from a different perspective. Because of course, like so many people, was totally disillusioned by the Western medical system. Nothing, they didn't fix anything. These things kept on coming back. And so through this, when I stopped and I had nothing left but to be in the discomfort of my own body and to listen and to be still and quiet, it's when my inner wisdom was louder again, because I always had a strong guiding voice. And like all of us, we all have this intuition, this heart's voice, our inner compass. But we get so busy, we forget to listen, and we can't listen because it's too noisy, right? So in this moment of stillness, forced by this accident, I started to hear her again. And she was the one that guided me very strongly into studying acupuncture, which, I had a strong conversation because I didn't like needles at all. This was not the thing that I wanted to do, but the voice was so strong and it was so clear that I had to go and study Chinese medicine. And I just applied for the degree in the University of Westminster in London. I got accepted unconditionally, and that's where my life started to really get aligned again with my path.
So Deepika, if you can just expand a little bit on that accident, that means how it happened, number one, and number two, what fractures or bone or this thing, because now while hearing this, now I remember reading Joe Dispenza's journey, and he also went with an accident at the age of 21 or something like this. And he also took a sankalp, ki, if I get healed, and very similar thing that if I get healed, I'm going to dedicate my life to this practice, and he became a chiropractor practitioner. So anything on that line? And I also heard something, you also met Joe Dispenza, something like that. So you can share on that also.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a usual car journey that I would make regularly, but I wasn't at fault at this point, but I was driving and I was just in my own world, doing my own thing, going from A to B, not present, not aware. And somebody pulled out in front of me, and we had a very bad collision. So they ended up in hospital. I thought I was okay, but of course, that was all the shock and the adrenaline that was pouring through. But the day after and following that, it turned out that I had severe shock. So, and that was not something that was treated. It was just, oh, your neck feels a bit stiff. Let's hold your neck in place. Oh, I'd hurt my sacrum, my whole spine, and I went into freeze, flat, in my
Fight and
system,
freeze.
into
Yeah.
this, yeah, into the sympathetic arousal. And I just stayed in that rigidity, which is why I was in so much pain for so long, because nobody actually thought about the core of my healing, which was on the nervous system to just release the shock. So I stayed in pain. I had a lot of pain in my spine. So I had a lot of treatment around my sacrum or my root chakra.
Right.
This area of the body where my whole nervous system was just out of balance. I always felt anxious. I always felt stressed in my
So it was
system.
always a shock. I mean, the shock was so much that it disrupted the whole balance of the body, and no physical fractures or anything.
Yeah. I had whiplash, but the whiplash, although they only treated the neck, the whiplash went all the way down the spine, and it actually
What is
was
a whiplash?
worse.
Not
Whiplash is when you hit something so hard that the head moves forward and back really quickly. So there's a lot of pain and discomfort in the neck because it's not held in place. So they call that whiplash, and that's all they treated at the time. But then over the period of months and months and months, they saw that it was much worse, and it was actually my whole spine that was affected. So that's when I discovered yoga.
You something similar. Even our Joe Dispenza also went through this whole accident and truck accident, and he also was on. The doctors told him he'll be a vegetable, and I think you are connected with somewhere. You learned from him, or you are connected somewhere. No?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Dr. Dispenza's work because it's all around really our ability to heal ourselves, given the right environment, given the right belief system, given the right emotions. And that's really what my work is about, because I know that the body has an innate ability to heal, but we don't necessarily believe that. And when you can understand that we are the best pharmacy, we know how to heal ourselves without our minds being in the way, then what Dr. Dispenza has shown is that when you change the way you think, you change the way you are, you change everything, you know. And this is, of course, Dr. Bruce Lipton's work that you've also
Yeah.
been with, you know. It's the belief systems are connected, but where I come from and what my healing journey has been through the body.
Right.
Because although I've done a lot of work, mental, emotional work, spiritual work, I've spent decades working and learning, and I'm very curious, ask a lot of questions, and I go deeper and deeper. But what I have found in all of this time is that at the core of it is that if you do not feel good in your body and you do not feel at peace and the nervous system is not relaxed,
Right.
there is no sense of love, there is a sense of fear, you're closed, you're protected, you're rigid,
Absolutely.
then the healing doesn't drop in.
Yeah.
So this is where my whole journey over the decades comes back to over and over again, is that we need a nervous system that is working that is regulated and in harmony and is resting, digesting, and regenerating. But most of us are overstimulated in some kind of shock that hasn't been processed, in some fear, flight, freeze experience, because, and then with everything that's happened recently, we're even more in that state of sympathetic arousal. And then, so it doesn't matter what we do or how we change our minds, it's hard work, because in the end, the body is saying one thing, which is, I'm not safe. I'm not okay. Right. So this is, and my background in Chinese medicine has given me that foundation to understand why this is so important.
Yeah.
That we really,
I also heard that you, I mean, you just shared about it, that you hated needles, and I'm also in that same bracket actually, but
Yeah.
I have experienced acupuncture, I think twice in my life, and with all those needles, like it appears very painful, but it isn't painful once you go through it, because it's just like a prick of a needle and then the stillness. But you can share more on that because you are the expert in that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody asks me, does it hurt, when they've never had it before? And I will always say, it's not a massage, that's for sure. It's not about like, oh, I'm going to give you some nice thing to make your body feel nice and soft. It is medicine. And, they say that it takes Mary Poppins will say it takes a spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down, because it's not the sweetest thing on the planet. But the needles are so fine, and there's thin hair like needles, that it's not even the insertion of the needle that you feel, but you feel the electricity and the energy in the body.
Yeah.
That can often be quite surprising for people.
And they put some the vibration also on that electrical something. So that's twice I've
Yeah.
experienced that way.
Yeah.
It has magical results. It has instantaneous results. That much I have been told, seen, and experienced also.
Yeah.
But it doesn't last for that long. Then I think you have to go for many sessions, I guess. We can expand on that if you, whatever work you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the traditional way would be to go frequently, but because of over my journey, I don't just practice acupuncture alone. I practice a combination of therapies and modalities that I have found that works on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. And the combination of that in my sessions, they're the signature 0 point sessions. I call them that because it brings you back to a state of stillness, to zero, to the Godhead, right? So because they're so deep and so strong, I don't see people frequently. I see them once every couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks. And they go through a process of healing. It's basically like an initiation. I give you the initiation, and then I give you the homework. And it's up to you to do that, because over my time being a traditional acupuncturist, I saw how dependent people became on the doctor to treat them, to make them feel better. And this is not the answer. I want healing to be easy, simple, and effective, and for people to be empowered to do it for themselves. And that means changing belief systems, but also feeling good in the body and taking the responsibility to change the diet where it needs to be changed, the lifestyle, and to become more aware and self-conscious, self-governing, sovereign.
So you will be sharing some of the tips later on after some time whenever you can share like that. But you can just share right now about little more detail of the, I mean, acupuncture is one thing and the other modalities, as you said, you can share something about that.
Sure. I started 23 years ago, and I have since then built on Chinese medicine, because I have seen that although Chinese medicine works on a wonderful fundamental level on the nervous system, in the way that we live our life now, we need more. And we need holistic healing, right? Which is on all levels. So when I started this practice, I saw that even after months of treatment and improvement and things, some people were able to sustain the healing and some people weren't. And so I started asking the question, why? Why does it work sometimes and why does it not other times? And I started to see that some people, I didn't know. I just saw that, okay, there's also a bunch of people that are totally unaware of their emotions or their tension in their body. So I then studied zero balancing, which was a form of conscious touch to release tension out of the body. And when I combined that with acupuncture, in that moment, they felt great, even more relaxed than they did after an acupuncture session, because it's very lovely and healing and soft. But again, they weren't sustaining it, even with the lifestyle and dietary advice. So again, I asked, why? Why are some people falling off and not able to follow through? Why are these people depending on me? Why can they not take it upon themselves to take care of themselves? And I started to notice the belief systems. These were the people that would say, there's something wrong with me. No, I'm sick. No, I can't do this myself. The poor me, some of the victim mentality, that made them helpless. So I studied theta healing, which is a system to clear limiting belief systems, and I saw profound effects when I worked with people with acupuncture, zero balancing, and theta healing. Because
So
then I was working.
Zero balancing, can you expand on that, zero balancing?
Yeah, zero balancing is actually a modality. It was founded by Dr. Fritz Smith. And it's a form of hands-on energy work that works with conscious touch through clothes, on the body, on the bones, to release the tension and that field of fear or stagnation in the system, to invite the body to reorganize itself around a still point.
So is it just touching like this, or
it's
like...
underneath, often underneath the body. So you're working with still points where you're touching the bone in certain places in order to invite that place to come to stillness. So it's intuitive in the way I work, but there's also a protocol. And then it's a place where you don't feel that I'm pushing anything. I'm just touching you and inviting you and your body to surrender.
Beautiful. And this is it on the lines of tapping? I mean, there's a tapping that you must be knowing about that. So anything to do that is also no.
Yeah, it's not to do with tapping. No, it's a body. It's a full body treatment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And more of intuition. I mean, intuitively
Yeah, I learned a protocol, and then from the protocol, I developed the intuition to understand how, I love protocols to give you the structure at the beginning, but then of course you have to find your own way through it and see what's best for each individual.
And more or less it is one-to-one, or it can be done virtually.
No, this is done one-to-one. This work that I have developed over this period of time, the of time is a one-to-one because I've been working with many clients one-to-one over the years.
And how much do you give weightage on, because we speak a lot about belief systems, so change your beliefs, like that. So how much weightage do you give to the trauma or to the problems people experience in their life? Belief, how much
Yeah.
weightage do you give there?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I would love to say if we could just change our thoughts, everything would be better, but it's very hard to do that. So that's why I go through the body, because our minds are very stubborn.
Right, right,
So it's great to say just let it go and feel at peace.
right.
But if there's something in the body that's not at peace, it's difficult and it's
True.
not fair.
Yeah.
So I mean, I give you an example. When I started combining the belief systems, I was working a lot in pregnancy. I have a specialty in fertility, pregnancy, and postnatal
Mm-hmm.
treatment. And I was working with a few that were finding it difficult to conceive. And one was a 35-year-old woman who had been trying for 5 years, with diagnosed with unexplainable infertility. Perfect. So helpful. And I thought, okay, I've been working with her for 6 months. I'm going to put this into practice and see what happens. So I started working with her belief systems and using the techniques that I'd learned to test what was true for her. And as we went deeper and deeper and deeper, actually, she understood there was a much deeper reason to why she wanted a baby. And it wasn't necessarily that she wanted a baby, but she needed it to fill a gap.
Right.
And through that realization, there was a lot of tears, there was a lot of realization, there was a lot of relief. She felt much calmer. Then the next cycle, she felt pregnant. So I did this with 2 more women who at the same time were trying to conceive, and with working with their belief systems, they also fell pregnant within the next menstrual cycle.
Wow.
So I saw the profound effect of working with the belief systems and working with their body to bring it back to calm and peace, but helping them become more aware. And I think that's what working with belief systems does, is once you start to go deeper into that, you become more conscious of why you are the way you are.
If you can just spell out, let's say, because you have practiced so much, if you can spell out about 10 common belief systems, and we'll ask them, do they fall into that bracket? It'll be interesting quiz, whichever comes to your mind, like, so many cases. So we'll have a little on the chat, they'll say yes, 1, 2, 3, like the first one which comes to your mind. Like you already shared poor me and all that, but whichever comes strong to you. Yeah.
There's something wrong with me.
Okay, so we'll just have this little quiz. Okay, something, Julie, you can just type out something wrong with me is number 1. So those who fall into that bracket 1, just put 1 number there. Something wrong with me. Okay. It's a common one. Yes, yes, a very, very, very. Let's see how many people.
Should I go on? Don't know if I even need to.
No, it's just fun. They always participate, and you'll have, because they, even by the very fact is you'll name it and they'll say 1 number and it triggers to then, okay, that means they need to work on that. So it's so beautiful because it becomes a little quiz then. Yes, the second one.
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough to. I'm not good enough to number. But
I don't know how to help myself.
I don't know how to help myself. 3 number. Yeah, these are common ones there.
I don't have time.
Yes, I don't have time for.
Or
So busy, so busy, so busy. Yeah. I say I'm so busy. I have all the time in the world and I have no time in the world. This is my favorite dialogue, because wherever I want to give time, I have all the time. Where I don't want to give, I don't want to. It's like that.
oh gosh, I feel like we covered all of it really in those first 4. I mean, maybe you can share one with me.
Yeah, it's difficult to heal. That dependence on
Yeah.
the doctors. So
Yes.
I am dependent
It's
on.
difficult to heal myself. Yeah. Yeah. It's difficult to heal myself.
Then the next one is life is so hard and difficult. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. And healing is so hard.
Yes. So 6 and 7 you got. Okay. And about money, money is so difficult to
Yeah.
earn.
I don't have enough.
Okay, I don't have
I
enough.
don't have enough.
Life is a struggle.
That's perfect. That's a great one.
So these are very.
And we need to suffer. We need to suffer.
Yeah.
We
We
need to
need
suffer
earn more
to
money.
be productive. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes.
Suffering is part of life. You know, we always have
Yeah.
this, from the religious point of view, we are supposed to suffer and then only.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Gosh. Two more. What are we gonna do?
Julie, you can also share one or two, Sarika. Your own. Hmm. So these
I
are
mean,
belief systems which is, you know, so deep rooted. So like you said, it appears, you know, like typically we tell people that you make an affirmation. Even we tell people make affirmation, but affirmation is just the first little pointer. You know, there's a lot of work below that. As you said, from the body, if you are healthy, you start thinking healthy. If you are not healthy, then all the energy goes, you know, my God, my God, my God, that way.
yeah.
Especially people who are not in the best of physical health, they will, I mean, they'll resonate with what we are saying, that, you know, you're not, and all the energy is going on that. So what do you have to say about how do we heal ourselves? Some tips from your side.
I've got another one.
Yeah.
And it's this idea that we cannot be big and bright and beautiful because we cannot shine. We cannot put ourselves in a place where we are shining if somebody else is not shining. It's this need to keep ourselves small.
Yes. So I call that, you know, comparison, that I'm not good enough. I'm not as good as you, or I'm not as beautiful as you. I'm not as handsome as you, or I'm not as capable of as you. This comparison, you know, there are two parts I share when I said either I'm not as good and we feel lower than the other, or we feel that there's no one like me and I, you know, then we feel everyone is below us. You know, so either one comes from the judgment that hey, you don't know anything, I'm better, I'm better, I'm better. And one is coming, I'm not as good, I'm not as good, I'm not capable. She has reached like this, he is like this. For me, how I can be? Like many people tell me, Manoj bhai, for you, it is okay for me. No, no, I said, I am gone through the same journey as you have gone through. There's no special, I am no
Exactly.
special person. I was exactly like you, but I worked on myself and then the result is today. So what do you have to say about that? Yeah. About working on
because
yourself. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Because the heart knows that we are wonderful. We are all wonderful. We're all equals, and we all deserve to be happy. You know, so this is the shift that we are making, hopefully more and more. But yeah, I mean, since I did all of that healing, you know, with all the study that I've done, I receive all the healing. I go through it myself. When I'm studying, I'm receiving at the same time. So the combination of working on my body, working on the energy, working on my mental, emotional self. I also went through a personal shift and I moved to Thailand. And I started working with new types of clients. I started working with clients that were much more self governing and took much more to convince that they needed to change certain things because they had their own mind. That's why they'd left their places and they were all living on this island in Thailand. So I saw that these people need to see for themselves. And I realized that people need to really make the shift from an inner knowing, not from being told what to do, but from this place, this heart space, this inner voice, this inner knowing that there is a wisdom inside to be able to change your life. And I made a prayer. And I prayed for direction and clarity to help me find the way, and for others to find the way to connect with their inner wisdom. And that's when the study of entheogenic medicine came in. So plant medicines. And that was a big one for me too. I had this understanding of plant medicines from, you know, how they were used in recreational ways, and then how they were used in therapeutic ways. So I started to study them. And I went through 3 to 4 years of psychedelic assisted therapy training in Switzerland. And during that time, went through a lot of personal work. It was very, very hard, very, very deep work. But it was a massive turning point in my life because I got to see for myself what was going on in my own head. I recovered lost memories. I saw my belief systems. I understood traumas that I had forgotten about. And I had a lot of revelation. And I was able to change my life from the inside out.
Can
You
you
know,
share? Can you share some of your traumas if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if my family are listening, but you know,
No,
no, this
that's
is
what
my
makes up people, because a lot of
perspective.
people go through it.
So yeah, sure. It's well, one of the big realizations I had during this time was that my nervous system has been in a state of fight or flight and sympathetic arousal since being in my mother's womb, because my mother lost a baby before me and she did not process her grief. So when she was pregnant with me, there was a lot of fear and anxiety. So I came into this world with fear and anxiety programmed
Beautiful,
into my nervous system.
beautiful. So that's what I wanted people to
Yeah, and
know.
at the time I thought, oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was one of the things that happened, but I experienced a lack of a father who wasn't available for me. My mother was working all the time. I felt lonely a lot. I then ended up with my stepfather, who was somewhat mentally and physically abusive. So I experienced a lot of pain and confusion around what love is, because this was not what my heart knew what love was. And because I wasn't able to express my anger, because there was nobody to actually hold space for me, to be there for me, I suppressed my anger a lot, and I became very aggressive and doubtful. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in anything. I was angry with the world.
Right.
And I continued to repeat some of these patterns as I got older in my relationships, but also in my childhood. I experienced digestive problems. I had anemia. I had depression. I had a lot of anxiety, and all of it was because I was confused about life.
Beautiful. I mean, beautiful means I appreciate the honesty, the way you're sharing. It's really because it will touch a lot of us go through it in childhood. I also went through this lack of love, and I keep on telling that because I was lack of love, so I wanted attention. Because I wanted attention, what do? I seek attention. So in school time, I would be the joker, getting attention that way. In college time, I was with the peer friends, so started smoke and drink because I wanted attention. So that was the cool thing at that time, and then I would get the attention. So we do so many things, just to get the seeking. So you speak a lot about being gentle to yourself, self-love, self-forgiveness. If you can share something of that, because so many of us people who are here, uh, we keep on telling, of course, every program we tell them, but when it comes through the scientific point of view, they will start working on themselves much more. So something on self-love, gentle, being gentle on yourself. What do you mean by that? Yeah. And please
Yeah,
listen,
so
whatever she shares, please listen nicely. That be gentle on yourself. And after you share, I will share something. Yeah.
okay. So my life was hard, right? And that's what I thought life was supposed to be. So I was hard on myself, and I was hard on anybody who was hard on me. And it was this hardness and rigidity that kept on going. Life is tough. I've got to fight. Another one. I've got to fight my way through my life because there's nobody looking after me. Now, I think it was really when I had my son 12 years ago that I understood how important it is to be gentle, because like you say, our children are our parents. I always talk about my child being my teacher, and he's a different soul. He has come through and he's very, very clear with me if I'm even a little bit tough. So right from the very beginning, he would respond very clearly if I repeated some of my mother's unconscious patterns with the way I disciplined, the way I handled him. And he showed me this way of being gentle. I knew about it, but I couldn't put it into practice because I only knew how to be tough. But when he was born and when he was young, he would say, "Don't shout, Mama. No shouting. No shouting. Hugs, cuddles,
Beautiful,
kiss.
beautiful.
I love you." And through his real reflection, I started to see, okay, this is where we're going, and this is actually what I didn't receive, and this is what I need the most. And that has been a practice because it takes a long time to slowly change these things, because we are also expect ourselves to just change overnight, but we
Right.
can't do that. This is a habit that has been conditioned for so long. And so if we're tough on ourselves, oh, change it overnight, well, we're never going to make it and we're going to constantly fail. And then we're going to be even tougher on ourselves.
Right.
But I started to see, okay, I've got to go slow and easy. And this makes sense also for the nervous system. So if you want to bring it back to the scientific perspective, our nervous system is in sympathetic fight, flight, freeze. In order for it to feel safe and go into rest, digest, regenerate, we need soft, gentle experiences. We need love. We need care. We need attention. And we have to stop looking for it outside of ourselves.
So we
Because
have,
most of us are,
sorry, we have this slogan called "Thoda karo, roj karo." That means do little but do it every day. It's like, and
exactly.
lot of time we say, I have found this recently about a year, 2 years back. Before I would say, I used to tell them, suppose you want to exercise, or suppose you want to get up in the morning, exercise, or any habit you want to form. You write down. We have the system that you send the message every day, whatever you want to do, the habits you want to make or break, and write there yes or no. After doing this yes and no, then I found a lot of people dropping out. Then I said, no, there's something wrong. What I'm saying, I said, no, don't write yes and no, because no hits you and you feel down, and then they feel down and they run away. Then I said, yes and will do. So then this will do, I started seeing that more people were continuing, but yet they were not starting or making or breaking, because they're writing will do. So will do hoga, kabhi
Yeah.
one day will come. Then I said,
Inshallah.
now, yeah, then I started to tell them, right? Yes, yes, you have done it, or starting today. Now, the starting today is so beautiful,
Exactly.
because starting today means what? I have forgiven myself and I'll start today. Even if I don't, okay, tomorrow also I'll start today. So you're going on giving yourself chance of starting whatever you want to be, do, or have,
Exactly.
So anything you like to share on
Exactly.
that?
Yeah, exactly. I always, I say I keep healing simple, easy, and effective.
Mhm.
And I give an example also of I've had a big practice in Switzerland, in Zurich, and for many years. And generally there's a large number of people that would drink 10 coffees a day.
Mhm.
And, they'd expect me to say, okay, now you need to stop drinking all coffee. But knowing this also about people and about myself, that if we're given something small and something that is very easy to change, then it's more likely to happen. And then we're going to feel good about ourselves, that we're going to take the initiation, we're going to initiate more change ourselves, because we're going to feel able and capable.
Right.
So I ask, if you are one of those people, whether it's chai or coffee, and you're drinking those all day, and you're overstimulated, but also slightly addicted, because that's what's going on with the caffeine. If I would ask them to not drink that first morning coffee, to change that first morning coffee, have a little bit of breakfast, and have the first morning coffee at 11 instead.
Mhm.
They'd look at me like, but what about the rest of the coffee? So no, just change one,
Hmm.
and then let's see what happens. And I tell you, Manoj,
Yeah.
every single person ends up stopping all the coffee
Wow.
because they feel so good about themselves.
Mm.
It's so easy. They don't have that first kick that they go, I don't need the next one. And everybody stops drinking coffee. They start drinking tea, herbal teas. They feel so good about themselves. They come back and say, Dipika, I stopped drinking coffee. It's
Wow.
amazing. I'm Italian. I like, this is impossible, and it's that small baby steps. And
Mhm.
this is what I learned also from my child. Small baby steps. Change just 10% and move towards your goal by
Beautiful.
10%. And
Beautiful.
it moves.
So I tell people recently, this book is there. You would have read it, James Clear, Atomic Habits. It's a beautiful book. If you have not read it. And it says the same thing, what you're saying, in same way I say that you don't have to do everything in one day. What you need to be is consistently doing
Exactly.
little bit. Like
Little
even to
bits.
log in, I said, you log in, okay, log in every day, I tell. Log in at 6:55. You don't have to see 3 hours, 3 hours. Who's got the time every day? But you log in and keep it logged in. You'll see 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you'll hear. That's the message for you that day. And if
Exactly.
you do it every day, you are on the road, you know. But
Yes.
people don't believe this and they just say, no, no, how can it be? I feel so guilty. I said, then pass the guilt on. I mean, don't feel guilty of just logging in, not even if you hear 10 minutes of Dipika or 5 minutes, that's the message for you today, like that. So
Yes.
anything,
I do this. Yes, yes. I do the same thing with helping people to practice, for example, if they want to start a yoga practice or they want to start a meditation practice. I found it difficult to start a meditation practice because I had a stressed nervous system that was always busy, couldn't sit down. My mother, showed me that you don't sit down, you keep on going, you keep on going, you keep on going. What do you mean you
right,
sit down and have a cup of tea and put your feet up in the middle of the day? Are you crazy?
right,
So I would find it difficult. And what I started to do was like what we say with yoga, it's just about getting on the mat. So
right,
with the meditation practice, it's the same thing. Sometimes I would sit down and after 5 minutes, I was done. And other times I would sit down and after half an hour, I was done.
right.
And then sometimes I would sit there and I would just take my notebook because in that moment I would get lots of insights and ideas and everything. So I wouldn't put this rigidity around when I sit down, I have to be still, I have to sit like this.
Right.
No, I am sitting and I
Right.
am putting myself in that place every single day. Whatever
Beautiful.
happens
Mm.
is up to my
Yeah.
spirit and my consciousness in that moment. But in the meantime, I'm going to sit and that's it. And then I've done my job. Tick.
Absolutely. And when you do that tick, then dopamine is released.
Yeah, exactly. Yay.
No, when I learned meditation from my master, he said, you do practice 40 days, you practice it. And actually, my state, because I used to smoke and drink, so my nervous or my mind was moving like a supersonic speed. So
Yeah,
just to sit for 15 minutes was like, for me, it was like sitting for
yeah.
about 4 hours.
Torture.
It was the biggest torture was there. But I did sit for 40 days, as he told. And by
Yeah.
40 days, my whole system changed because that smoking,
Yes.
drinking stopped. So that metabolism, that excitement also stopped in the mind. And this practice of 40 days, out of 40 days, I must have probably meditated 4 to 6 times. The rest was we just sat. And sat means
Exactly.
rather meditating, I only thought. I
Yeah.
remember my brother, he would say, it was good meditation. So I said, why? Saying, I heard those 3 songs are very good, 4 minutes each song. So he was hearing the songs rather than meditating. But I sat, and after 40 days, it's been 30 plus years, I have never missed a meditation. It's so much, it's
Amazing.
so beautiful. So
Yeah.
this thing of everyone, I'm just telling that thoda karo, roj karo, do it little, but do it every day. That little, don't, and in case you fall guilty or you feel guilty, then you pass that guilt on to the universe. We have now introduced the latest thing we have done is a couple of weeks back. I said every time you get irritated, I used to tell, if you don't do this, like a few years back, pay 10,000 rupees, then your reptilian brain will wake up. Then I made it 5,000. Now the latest one, which works very well, I said, every time you get irritated, disturbed, just pay 100 rupees to someone you don't know on the road. Okay, India, we have lots of people. And
Yeah.
believe me, yes, so much awareness has increased by this little $1 or 100
Yeah.
rupees. This, because the fact is you're giving it and you're telling, what am I doing? That every time you get disturbed, go, you react with some person, give this 100 rupees or $1 or $2, whatever you decide to. But you will see how many of you, we call it IDFAR, irritation, disturbance, frustration, anger, or reaction. IDFAR. So you'll see, if I say a lot of you have started this 100 rupees, it works miracles, because the reptilian brain is, you are taking some action, and somehow you tell your brain that I'm aware now, I got disturbed in this particular area. And so many people have started see, and what we could not achieve for so many years, in just a week or 2 weeks, they say, wow, it's happened. It's just ways to wake up that, as you said, fight and freeze. Or
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where, when you're talking about the little inputs, what I know, and I can share later also, because I'm an alchemist and I make medicines and I work with really tiny doses, because the way that I work has continued into also making medicines for people in a way that, if everybody has got used to the big hit, like I need to feel it, I need to feel the change immediately, but when the nervous system is in that state of sympathetic fight, flight, freeze, it needs very little input over a constant period of time for it to go, okay, I can handle this, I can
Sure.
take this. You give it a big hit, it's going to go, whoa, great, okay, change, boom, back again. And this is what I've seen. I've worked with many people with the treatments that have had big things, but also with psychedelic medicine through the therapy. And people have big experiences and it's wonderful, but it's too much. It's too much. So when we, it's the same thing. When we do it small, little, consistent, the body can receive it, the body can integrate it, and the body can sustain it. The mind can say, this is safe, I feel good, okay, I can continue. And we do slowly, slowly, step by step, little,
I
little,
always
little.
give this analogy of, the sun sets gradually, the sun rises gradually. Everything in life is gradual. So you just want to it's like, some people say, she or he is an overnight success. I said, no, no, no one is an overnight success.
Yeah.
They have worked on it consistently for so many years. You see the output on, when read
Exactly.
this interview of Hrithik Roshan. So his first movie was super duper hit, Kaho Na Pyar Ka, something like that. And then he said, no, no, it's not an instant hit. This thing, before this, I worked 15 years on karate, 15 years on dance, 15 years on this. And then you are seeing the output there. So medicine also, I would love to hear what medicines you are making and all. So
Thank you.
yes, you can share about the medicines which you were saying, you were the alchemist and you make medicines or something about that.
Yeah, I have an apothecary, which I love being in. And I'm all about nature because I know that we have everything in nature that we need. And so I make natural medicines. And this came around first because I was making them for myself. And then secondly, because they worked so well that I decided to share them because other people wanted them. So I actually have a small line of medicines that I make. And I work mainly at the moment, because I go through phases, I work mainly at the moment with Taoist stone medicine, which is a study that I did. It's the Chinese way of making elixirs from crystals and stones. And I also work with the mushrooms, different types of functional mushrooms for, which is also has a long history in Chinese medicine. So I make these mushroom powders, which they're called functional mushrooms, and they are there to help assist on the nervous system, on the mind, on the DNA. and on with the immune system. And then I have one specifically, which is a tincture, a little of drops that works specifically on the central nervous system. That's also from a very iconic mushroom. I don't know if you know this red mushroom with the white dots, the one that's in all the fairy tales, Alice in Wonderland. It's something that we've definitely grown up with in many of the fairy tales.
Uh-huh.
And it's grown in the northern hemisphere in general, so where it's a bit cooler. But it originates from Russia as well as a medicine, and it's like any mushrooms. You know, if you eat something that is not prepared well, it's not good for you. But I started to work with this actually with this realization that I had that my nervous system has been stressed since I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to that point where I thought, okay, I've studied, I mean, I even carried on to study yoga teacher training. I did the yoga teacher training and learned about practices on how to ground my body, and, you know, went deeper into that. But I decided that instead of trying to fix myself and get rid of this forever, I'm just going to learn how to really manage myself. Because if this is something that has been there forever, then I'm not going to put the pressure on to try and fix it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to experiment with different somatic body work, how to relax my kidneys, because this is where the adrenals are, and this is your adrenaline that kicks off into the sympathetic nervous system. So a lot of people, you know, there's simple things like when you're sitting on a chair or you're sitting on the sofa, put a cushion behind your back. Right. That it gives your kidneys the chance to relax and lean on something.
Yeah,
Simple.
I can see the pillow behind you. I mean, you were.
Yeah, exactly. Always now.
I also have. Always I keep thinking in the car also. There's a small pillow. I say put it.
Yes.
I don't know
Exactly.
I don't know the science behind it, but I just feel comfortable, and I'm learning from you.
Exactly.
That it feels
because when your body
comfortable.
feels when your body feels comfortable, the mind feels comfortable.
No, that much I know, but
Right?
I
And
didn't know it gives the kidney. That part I didn't know.
yeah, it's connected to the kidneys and the adrenals. So in the lower back, in Chinese as well, it's all of the fear sits in the lower back. Mm-hmm. And also this sense of support, like I don't have enough support or I need support. So when you don't feel supported, you contract the lower back and you sit up and it's all tight in there, but it activates the adrenals. So in order to bypass and rewrite that pattern of, oh, I don't have support, if you just lean on a cushion, your body will relax.
No, and
that's
even
it.
I have been meditating 30 plus years, but last 4 years I have seen because then I used to meditate with the back support. So it's been about 4 5 years now. I don't use the back support, but I found this what you're saying. I always put a little cushion below my butt, and because there's a little elevation, and I feel very comfortably sitting there. So I saw one of my friend doing that, but I didn't understand that time many years back. But I just tried it one day. I said, "Oh, this is much better." So always there's a little cushion. Right now, also I'm on a little cushion where it is. So it helps to, you said, relax the kidneys.
Relax the adrenals and the kidneys. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. I was doing it intuitively, but no, I didn't know.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have through this process of learning about what I need to do for my body, I also started to receive actually gifts from some friends. This is how things happened for me. I put out a prayer, an intention, a wish, and somewhere, if it's meant to be, it comes into my path. And this specific mushroom came into my path. And I spent a year testing it on myself. And then after a year, I actually went even deeper and did a study on it and worked with a mentor in the United States. And I'm now doing I'm working with this mushroom because it is being researched for anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, trauma, anxiety, insomnia, because what it does is it works on the sympathetic nervous system, and it activates the GABA receptors in our brain, which is what the Western medicine has done, which is create something that's similar. The GABA medicines and the benzodiazepines have been made based on what this mushroom can do for you
So
naturally.
this mushroom you made into powders or something like that?
This mushroom I've made into a tincture. This specific one I've made into a tincture that you can take. And
Okay.
it's on a very low dose. It's what we call a microdose. You take it twice a week for 3 to 4 months. And some people after 2 weeks already feel that they're sleeping better, they feel
So
calmer,
yeah, I know
much less anxiety.
a lot of people here, probably here in this forum also, but I know a lot of people who are anxious and
Yeah.
hyper anxious. They can't sit like this. So will it help them?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, I think this is the whole world. This is the thing. It's how can I reach more people, because we are overstimulated. So when we're overstimulated and not relaxed, we feel anxious and hyper. And you know, we have to look at our kids to see what happens when they're
Yeah,
overstimulated by video games.
yeah, we do. Yeah, right.
So yes, this is the
So
kind of medicine that would help.
if anyone here is in that space, you can always connect with her and directly order these wonderful medicines. She is doing so much research because can you just explain? We'll give her website and all, Sarika or Julie, you can just put it up. Can you explain about the sympathetic nervous system a little bit? Means when you say
Yeah.
that, the disorder or imbalance of central nervous system, what do you mean by that? If you can explain that.
Yeah, so the central nervous system is made up of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic.
Hmm.
To keep it very simple, we're either going into fight or flight, which means that the body is evacuating the gut. It is not about digestion. It is about getting all the blood away from the organs into the peripheries, into your hands and feet, so you can be in action. And yes, it's useful when we were living in the forest and there's a bear chasing us.
Right.
But what's happened is over, as children as grandchildren and great grandchildren of war, we've had this passed down through our ancestors, this feeling that we are not safe, that we need to be on alert and look out. That's the sympathetic arousal. We breathe shallow.
Hmm.
We feel anxious because we have to be on the lookout.
Yeah, we call it like fight,
Fight, flight,
flight,
freeze.
or
Yeah.
freeze.
Yes.
FFF.
FFF. Exactly. That's my note. So FFF. So, and the opposite to that is the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and I add regenerate.
Mhm.
So that's when it's all about organs, we're relaxing, there's digestion happening, the blood is not in our hands and feet, but actually in our organs doing the work. Our cells are regenerating, and we're feeling relaxed with our environment, safe,
So
loved,
that is
understood.
the antidote of this. That's what you say. Parasympathetic is an antidote of sympathetic this thing. Okay. So that's
Which is why people drink alcohol.
right.
Yeah, and I noticed now I've been in Delhi for a family wedding, and I understood for the first time why people are drinking so much alcohol, because I thought in a week of being in Delhi, I felt overstimulated. My son, who's 12 years old, said, I, I can't sleep. My head doesn't stop, because he felt overstimulated. We were sitting outside, but there's constant noise. There's no peace and quiet. There's pollution, there's the traffic, and this is all considered normal. Everybody's just getting used to it.
No, even the place makes a difference. Pollution makes a difference. Music makes a difference,
Yeah.
and the people's vibration makes a difference. What is their consciousness make? I mean, everything actually has an effect. And if we are little susceptible, then we take in that, and then we don't know why we're not getting sleep, why we're not this thing. So
Yeah.
if you're at ease with everything, then what do you have to say about self-love, self-forgiveness, self-compassion?
Yeah, so I mean, in the end, this is where we're coming to, right? So that's that's what I attempted to do for so many years, until I started to understand I had to work first on a physical level to feel calm and good, so I can feel love, because that love comes from feeling safe in the body. And
Beautiful.
then when I feel love, I feel joy, I feel my cup is overflowing, and I can give love. But the big thing for me as a healer, as a carer, as a giver, was self-love. What does it mean to self-love? Because I'm here to love everybody else, and I didn't realize this was another belief system. Oh, I have to sacrifice myself to
Right.
care for others, right? This is this is an ancestral pattern. This is something that I've been told in life. So the only way I feel that I can actually live now is to be able to constantly listen to what I need. What do I need? Even though my idea was I put my children first, I put everybody else first. And the idea of putting myself even first
You feel
was,
guilty.
oh, yeah, but that's selfish. That's
Selfishness. Big one.
egocentric. Yes, exactly. So I had to change all of that, because of course by giving, I was burning out and my nervous system was a mess. So the only way I could carry on in my own dharma, doing the work that I'm supposed to do, was to look after myself. And that's when I started to understand what it means to love myself, not only just what to do for myself, but actually to be okay with the fact that maybe my thighs are bigger than I'd like them to be, or that my hair isn't as thick as it used to be, or that sometimes I get really angry and lose my temper with my child. It's all okay, because I'm human. I'm not this idea that I'm supposed to be some saint who never has any emotions, was also something I had to let go of. So this self-love for me, it's compassion, love, forgiveness. I mean, if I bring it down to one thing, it's acceptance, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Acceptance of right
However,
now.
however, someone, we had this exercise today in the afternoon with the teachers. We have a Gurukul here where we are right now. So about 200 of us stay together, and about 90 children are there. So teachers, we had this exercise that where do you feel like, especially physical looks. So many hands went up. So I said, okay, for physical look, I'll tell you, you all look so beautiful. It's like that, because most of the time we are finding faults in our own this thing. So self-love, it appears selfishness, but I tell people that when it is in the energy world, be selfish. In the material world, be selfless. So materially means outside world, be going on giving, 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 uh, selflessly. And when you go as far as loving yourself, be very selfish. Okay, that is because selfish means loving yourself for me is to forgive yourself for however, we are going on we make so many so-called mistakes, and then we go on feeling guilty or shameful about that. Or even our thoughts, we feel shameful. I tell our children, there are some of them sitting here right now. I said, you forget about what you have done. Let's start today. Start today. So we have them here at the end. I'll introduce that. We always say they make some mistake. All right, start today. Can you commit from today onwards? Don't hold that, because that past then we get it into the present, and then we start feeling guilty, shameful, and keep on repeating the same thing. And then the society tells you're a bad person or it's not right, like you said about your mother. So you can just expand on that way, because unknowingly,
Yeah,
of course, everyone does it unknowingly, but people need to understand.
yeah. I mean, it was totally unconscious, because it's what was passed down, and I feel that we have more tools now. We have more available. There's more education. There's more awareness. My child is an example of how he's also different to how I was, and how he seems to be much more aware. But I can see the patterns that run through my own family line, through the women in particular, me being a woman. And it was not about caring for yourself. So I didn't get taught that it's important to listen to your own needs.
Right.
I didn't get taught to follow my path. In fact, I did have to fight to do things differently because I didn't do things the way that everybody else did. And I still know I disappoint certain people because I don't follow tradition for the sake of tradition's sake. I do it because it feels right. So even with everything that I've said, even with all of this stuff, I always say, don't believe what I say, really listen. And if it feels true, then it's good for you. If it doesn't, no problem, because in the end, we have to really listen to how our body feels and how there's something inside that says, this feels good. I feel good. I feel happy. Okay, whether it's eating the right foods, whether it's going to bed earlier than everybody else, whether it's going for a walk and just letting life happen whilst you take some time out. These are the things that I've had to put into practice and learn. And really, when I share this with other people and they say, but I haven't got time now, but what's going to happen to my kids? But how's my husband going to feed himself? Da, da, da. Like, it's okay, everybody else will survive, especially if you take yourself out of it and look after yourself, because as a mother, I have to feed from an overflowing cup. That is my responsibility to myself. Always, I have to fill that cup up, and that cup is self-love. And that comes with a lot of compassion around sometimes, like this week, I had a tough week. My child was going through something, my partner was going through something, I was going through something. Okay, it's exhausting. That's okay. We will come through it. Gentle, easy. It will always pass. This too shall pass. We cannot get stuck because in the moment it feels so permanent. And then you realize, here we go. There's just another wave and this too shall pass, because this is life. And when we're in that state of relaxation, we can see and accept that life has its ups and downs. So to
What,
have compassion.
yeah, what weightage do you give gratitude in this whole process?
If I was to say, if there's one practice that you can do that will change your life, it's gratitude. And I can forget everything else if I want to help somebody to just understand how important it is. I talk about gratitude because it changes the biochemistry of the brain, of the body, and brings the vibration into a state of peace. And in that peace and acceptance, you are grateful for every single thing. Just what I say, and it's based on an experience I had last year where I went from, okay, gratitude, I have to practice gratitude. Okay, gratitude. And I did this practice. But last year, at the beginning of the year, I had a series of 4 friends pass on one day after the other. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, you can
And
share
2 of
on
them,
that. Yeah. Yeah. They
yeah,
are all
yeah.
close friends. Yeah.
Yeah, so I 2 of them took their own lives and 2 of them just dropped. And I didn't even have time to process one, let alone the second, let alone the third and the fourth. But by the time I got to day 5, my dream project also fell through. And I just realized in that moment that I am just so happy to be alive, because I have no idea between now and tomorrow whether I'm still going to be alive. And that was the moment that gratitude became something that is just an experience of life. And I've been sharing it with my son, and I've been sharing with all my clients and my friends and everything, because whenever anybody says, I don't have time, or I'm stressing about something in the future, or what am I going to do about this? And they're acting as though they're going to be around forever. I say, you have one more day of life. And really, you need to be grateful because you don't know whether you're even going to come home tonight or whether you're going to wake up in the morning. That is how precious life is. And I'm trying to bring people back constantly over and over back to the present moment, which is here and now. Don't wait to make those changes. Don't keep on putting things off because you think you can't do it, or because it's not enough money, or because something else has to change, and when and if. Do it now, because actually this is it. we
Beautiful.
only have right now. So gratitude, 100%.
And since we have a lot of girls in our school, I'm just asking a question from them because I just want to reconfirm or reassure them that the ladies, a lot of them, they have this, because I heard it in your cassette, I mean, your talk, they have this pain in the menstrual, you know, menstrual cycle disorder, or these, whatever you call it, they call it something, which they come, they get these PCOD, all these things related to the genitals, basically, menstruation,
Mhm.
periods, pain, all this. So I always tell that we are carrying too much load and guilt and shame in the area of sex,
Mhm.
and boy, girl, man, woman, this. So you
Mhm.
just release this, whenever you get these type of thoughts, it's bad, it's not good, it's not right, it's not,
Mhm.
because of so many factors, religious or conditioning. I just tell them, you release it and balance the seven chakras. So we seven chakras, the first chakra, Mooladhara, we just show it like this because we don't show the sacrum area. The second one, we just show it like this, third, and then third, navel area, fourth, five, six, seven. Five we can show first and second. I tell them, you just balance it out by just saying, I'm releasing the shame which I hold in, whatever that they know, and the guilt and the fear and the hatred and the suppression and the confusion, and of course the ego, should be, must be, right, wrong. By doing this, whoever has done this recently, we have made videos of it, they have cycles, everything has become normal. But they don't believe, and that especially the youngsters, children, all, they don't believe that. "Nahi karenge." Now, some people we met recently, I said, no, you're going for this sonography and all. For 1 month, don't go. Please do this. If it heals, please don't go. If it doesn't heal, you can go by your own medical way. So anything you like to say on that? Because it'll help all the
Yeah,
ladies.
I think you've touched on something that's very important, which is also, of course, what I know that with Sarika we were having this conversation and how important it is for menstrual education, not just like locally, but actually everywhere, because we're just starting to talk about the menopause. You know, people have not had any education everywhere around something that happens to all of us. It's really shocking that we have kept this under so much cover, that yes, there is all this shame and also this idea that we need to just ignore it and carry on with life. And I think shame and guilt is very important. Like you say, it's around the root chakra, the sacral chakra. We have this tension there. I know that pain and any symptoms of PCOS, I think it was probably what you're thinking of, where there's little cysts in the ovaries and things like
That's the
this.
word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and it causes pain. Any indication of pain in that area indicates that you are holding on. There
absolutely.
is something there that needs to be let go of. And from a physical perspective, you know, exercise is really important, because when you move your legs, you're really moving the energy in this lower part. But also, as you move your legs and you stand on the earth, you say, I am here and all is well, instead of trying to again hide into the body and contract in, right, in fear.
Mm.
So it's constantly coming back to, yeah, this is normal. This blood has to come out. It needs to flow out. If there's pain, it means that it's having difficulty. And I always say, your experience of your menstruation is an example of the experience of life.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
So,
Yeah, because there is something there, then you're holding on. So, I mean, like gratitude, you letting go. How do you be letting go? Then just be in gratitude. I mean, coming from from a scientist or from a doctor's point of view, it will help a lot of people. We have a few doctors here also will be asked, they will also ask some questions, but we'll take that question in a few minutes now. And just one last one is that what is I mean, since you have studied everything, you have studied homeopathy and allopathy and Ayurveda and flower remedy, I don't know, but just a little synopsis on the different types, because there are 300, I was told 300 different healing modules, 200 of them have been registered. But only well known is allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda, and a few of this, you know, flower
Yeah.
remedy. Maybe just some of them know like this. So anything on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I mean, traditional Chinese medicine.
Mm.
And then if I was to put, I've studied theta healing, which is the belief systems. I've studied zero balancing, which is learning how to clear tension from the body. I've studied alchemy. I've studied yoga. I've done a yoga teacher training. I have um, studied the Egyptian science of biogeometry, which is all about bringing harmony to the body with actual numbers. It uses shape to bring equilibrium and harmony into the body and the environment. So it goes beyond the body. Um, I studied Taoist stone medicine. I mean, in the end, all of it brings me back to the same place, is that everything is about bringing back harmony into the body. And when we are harmonized on the physical, mental, and emotional levels, the spiritual realm opens up. And that's where, you know, we have all this ancient wisdom and so much beautiful sharings to receive. We need to get in ourselves and come back into that state of presence, which is love.
Beautiful.
So
Yeah, yeah, love
I
is
work.
that's the
Yeah.
universal answer. Love yourself, then you love. And we always say that, you know, the other person, whoever, like, it can be the spouse, it can be the customer, the supplier, whosoever is coming in your life, he or she is just a mirror of what you
Yes.
are going through, and he is bringing out that energy which is within us. Like, I hate that person, yes, because there's a hate within me, so it is coming out. That's why he is
Yes.
just a limit or actor in our life to bring out that hatred or or whatever experience we are going. So you would like to comment on
100%.
that?
Yeah, it's what I say. It's why I say to that my son is my mirror, you know,
Right.
and I live in a hall of mirrors with my family, because anything that comes up is just a reflection of something that's within me. Anytime I get triggered, we call it, and I get irritated or angry, yes, there's something inside of him, but that's the irritation inside of me at myself, because it's actually something very similar. So absolutely, there is for me a line where some of us have forgotten that not everything is always us, as in, you know, somebody has done something wrong and they've harmed us in some way, that it's not necessarily, for example, as a child, let's look at that from that perspective. As a child, being hit by your father is
Yeah.
not something that I would say is my mirror. It's something that was done to me, and yes, it is my life experience, my karma, my journey, and this is where I am, and I accept what has happened has also brought me to where I am. But then what happens is that I have taken on that experience as normal, as love, and I continued to take that into my relationships. So when I, not that I was physically abused in my relationships, I was mentally abused, and I accepted it as love. This is what
Mhm.
happens in love. So that's where my mirrors started coming in, and I started to see, we must know that some of this stuff comes from childhood, and that this is there to heal, and that when it comes up in very normal ways, like interactions with your child or your partner that are not abusive, then it's okay. But if it is abusive, there's also a line where, because I stopped seeing the line, because I thought, oh, but no, everybody is my mirror. And I stopped seeing the line, thinking, no, I need to sit and put up with this because he's showing me something about myself. And I didn't know, where is the line between saying, this is not okay, to this is part of my self-development.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that was a big one for me, because this mirror is something
Oh,
I
yeah,
use
yeah,
all the
yeah.
time.
In the name of that, you know, he is my mirror, then we can take it the other way and then take all the abuse of whatever, whoever is doing whatever. No way, no way. So one of the things I'm now propagating everywhere I go is, you know, what you just now shared, that I'm saying that I'm giving you, first I give the guarantee that I said, now onwards, no more hitting, to forget about thinking of hitting. no shouting at children. This is the first thing I say. Then they say, how is it possible? How can you discipline children without shouting? So we have about 90 children. I never shout at them. I only explain. I said, no shouting. Then what? I said, then what? Then the finger goes back to you. Then you'll think and you'll get ideas how to bring discipline in the children, of course, but with love rather than the shouting or hitting, though it doesn't come in by this thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
antenna also it doesn't come, but no shouting. So we tell people that if you can give 5 minutes per day, just introspect. Of course, we share with them how to do it, but 5 minutes, that's a good start of not shouting and hitting at people, because then in that 5 minutes you start looking within, and then you get the ideas, because no one really wants to shout per se, but it happens because of the flight, FFF, flight,
Yeah.
fight, and this thing, freeze. But how do you shift it is these so many tools. So if before we take questions
Yeah.
from everyone, what are the
Yeah.
3 tips you would like to give anyone? If there are 3 tips,
Yeah.
and then we take questions with them.
3 tips with reference to how to
Heal
come back to
themselves.
peace. Yeah. Okay, well, one of the things I think we can do, I mean, one of the quick ways of getting into that relaxation and parasympathetic state of mind is to come back to heart-centered breathing. And that is similar to something that you guys have just done, but is to put your hand on your heart, to bring awareness to where your heart is, and to breathe through your nose, like in for 4, hold it, and out for 4. Hold it, just also for a brief moment. And just by doing that breath, connecting to your heart, it really relaxes the nervous system. So it's called, we call it heart-centric breathing.
Beautiful. I'd just like to add on, again, intuitively, I have been doing this, okay, because I have 1.5 hour
Yeah.
when I say, and I have nothing. So, yes, 2, 3 days back, I was doing an Nina, my wife, she got so upset. Why are you taking so long? I said, I don't know. You pause. Otherwise, I would just do like this and continue conversation. But she said, no, I want to pause. So then when I pause, then I pause for full 1 minute, doing exactly just being with the breath and like this. And then, so it's so beautiful. Instinctively, we do so many things, which is scientifically now you're sharing. That's one tip. The other 2.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many that they also change and shift as time goes on. And one of the things that I see now that is so important for us is to have more hugs.
Hugs. Beautiful. Yes. Second.
Yeah, it releases oxytocin, and
Absolutely.
which calms the nervous system.
So,
We need to hug, and the hug needs to be for 20 seconds at
wow.
least.
Wow. That's
And
nice.
then the release happens.
Okay. That's something new I've learned. Guruji always says that, don't bother with the blank balance, increase your love balance. So love
Yeah,
balance,
yeah,
hug.
exactly. Yeah, the hugs. And then when it comes to health, if I was to find one thing that I would always focus on, if people come to me with all sorts of things. I work online, I work in person, I work in retreats, so many different ways that I work with people. But if they want to go through their healing and they're not sleeping properly, they're not drinking enough water, I can say, forget it. Like, you want to change your physical health or you want to change your mental health, you must have the foundations in place. Come back to basics. We need more sleep. Most people are underslept.
Mm.
Yeah. And we need more water, good, healthy water, water with a little bit of
Like,
lemon, a little bit of, yeah, exactly, nimbu pani, like that this is the wisdom's already there. I've got so many people to drink warm water with lemon, a pinch of salt in the morning. And I have suggested people go to sleep by 9, 10 o'clock at night. It's better to wake up early. But to get the best sleep, you need to go to bed by 10 o'clock at night. And then you get the most rejuvenating sleep. When your sleep and water intake are in order, then you can move on to all these other things. But without that foundation in place, it's really difficult.
beautiful, beautiful. So now we'll take some questions from everyone there. All of you can write down a question. We'll take Pavitra, if you're there, you being a doctor, you are asking something, you can put on your videos. And till then, till they ask or till they raise their hands, what do you say to all the parents? How do they bring up the children? Your tips on children bringing up.
Yeah, with more patience, I discipline my child also just with consequences, a lot of explaining, a lot of discussions, and it's difficult. He's a 12-year-old boy. He's starting to get his own mind. He really challenges me. But it's always coming back to reason and not being so emotional, not taking it personally. When they don't do what you want them to do, when they don't eat what they want them to eat, that you've specially cooked for them, to not take it personally. These are children and they're allowed to be children and do what they want to do and find their own way. But I would say right now, what is most present for me is this practice of not taking anything personally and just being able to listen with an open heart. It's they're very challenging. Do you have children?
Oh yeah, I have. She's 24 or 23. She'll get upset. She's 23, going to be 24. Okay. So,
I heard the
Okay.
last three tips that you just gave. The second one, I remember you mentioned about giving a hug for 20 seconds, but I missed the first one because there was some computer thing. So can you please repeat that if you don't mind?
Yeah, what did I say? Oh, breath. It's a heart-centric breathing where you put your hand on your heart and you take slow inhales always through the nose, in for 4, hold just for a moment, and exhale for 4, and just continuing until you really feel present again. It's quite a fast way to come back to calm and peace, and it calms the nervous system.
Thank you. And one more
You're
thing,
welcome.
if anybody wants to do the consultation, can y'all put the information out there for us? Thank you.
Yes. Yes, so I mean, I do, and I always say to everybody, you've got a 20-minute call with me if you just want to chat and see what it is that you need and find ways to see if I'm the right person for you. And then there's ways to go deeper, to work online, to come to Ibiza, to send you the medicine, etc. So yes, I mean, the 20-minute call is my gift to everybody to have a chat. And that I can do. I don't know what's going to be the best way to do that, Manoj. We just,
yeah,
will
no,
be.
I think you can just put your website or email, dipika.life, right?
That's my website, and then there's a contact details on there. And if you send me an email, then I'll be able to speak to you, Ina. That question is about the menopause and
Right.
about the knee pain and the back pain. So the menstrual organs, the gynecological organs, especially in women, are very much governed by also the kidneys and the liver. And as we age, there is a general drying up of yin in the body for everyone. And as women, we lose blood, so we lose even more what we call yin, the juice, the oil and water of the engine, starts to dry up a little bit. On the aging process is governed by the kidneys. Here we go again, which is in the lower back. And the kidneys are, each organ connects to different sense organs and different physical parts of the body. So the kidneys, for example, are connected to the knees, they're connected to the lower back, they're connected to the soles of the feet, but they're also connected to the ears, so the sense of hearing, the graying of the hair, and general elasticity and moisture of the skin. So if you are experiencing in menopause or postmenopause weak knees or weak lower back, I'm sure there's some wonderful Ayurvedic tonics for kidneys, and that's where I would go in India to get that. Otherwise, even from a Chinese medicine perspective, if you contact me, I can help. But there's lots of information online if you look at the kidney perspective in Chinese medicine and start to see what are the foods you can eat. But in general, winter is the time of the kidneys. And I'm just sending out this afternoon, and Sarika, you will receive this. And then actually anybody here who wants to receive can sign up for my newsletter, which is on the website, because I'm about to send out the winter wisdom, and it's all around the kidneys. So it's all around making sure we have enough for everybody, enough fats in the body, good fats in the body. We're talking like healthy fats, whether it's olive oil, whether it's avocados like we have in as well. And I have been doing something for a few years, which is this bone broth cleanse. And it's really organic beef bones, even though I'm mainly vegetarian, I hardly ever touch meat. But this beef bone broth goes straight into the bones of the kid, into the bones and into the cells. And it's really what we need as we get older. We need good fat. We don't have enough of the good fat, so it can come from seeds, from there's dietary advice in the email that I send out, just to make sure you're hydrated. And water is not enough. We need oils. We need that fat.
The healthy fat, personally, I love the nariyal pani ka malai.
What's
The
that? Is that
coconut water,
Coconut water,
the
the thin
coconut.
pulp,
yes.
the thin pulp
Yes.
that covers
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
And you
Exactly.
didn't mention ghee, Dipika. You didn't mention the Ayurvedic.
That is in my newsletter. Ghee. I mean,
Ghee.
it's like what I take it every day as well. And I can't believe how much I take, because I was so anti-fat. Oh no, but I can't eat all this fat. I can't. And when we were at this Panchakarma in November, I thought, I feel so much better. My hair feels better. My skin feels better. I'm not getting fat. So my understanding of how much ghee I needed to take to feel the hydration. So of course ghee, yeah, I just, most people here wouldn't, they're like, ghee, eat that much ghee? No. But so I always say olive oil and avocados, but of course I'm talking to a slightly different audience here. Ghee, eat good organic ghee, like you get the good stuff, or make it yourself, right? And eat more of that. Yes. So the kidneys connected to the lower back, connected to the knees.
Okay, thank
I hope
you.
that
The
answers
next
the question.
question, yeah. How does self-talk affect our life? What self-talk helps to shape life?
How does self-talk
Affect our
self-talk? Yeah, so as in talking to ourselves. I mean, I do that all the time. I'm constantly having conversations with myself, and it's with positive things, because my mind and thought will go into, oh God, what did, or like before coming on this, oh my goodness, I'm going to be on here for 2 hours. Am I going to just talk nonsense, or is it going to make sense? Just these little moments where I go, it's all right, Dippy. You're good. Everything's good. You wouldn't be on this if it wasn't meant to be, And I keep on having these conversations with myself. I think it's good because we need to, I call it reparent ourselves. We need to be there for ourselves. We need to stop looking on the outside all the time for help. And so you have the grown-up version of yourself that has this wisdom. And then there's the little child inside that's, I'm not good enough. I don't know how to do this. And if we can keep on going, it's okay. You're okay. You know how to do this. You can move through this. Yeah, self-talk in that sense, if that's what is meant by that, I think is essential. I used, used to say you're mad if you talk to yourself, but I think it's really healthy.
TYL. Okay, we have one more question here. What is the cause of sciatica, which is prevalent these days?
Okay, so there's several things depending on age. It can be very much connected to posture. Most of us are sitting without a cushion behind our back, and so we have a contracted lower back. Most of us are sitting too long, and I mean, if Delhi traffic is anything to go by, I was sitting a lot. But in general, we're also on computers, so our posture is tight. And then it's also connected to the kidneys again, because the kidneys are in the lower back. And if there is fear in the body, or in the mind, heart, if there is this feeling that you can't like you don't have enough support in your life to move through life, and you need more support, and you have to like hold it together all the time, that causes a contraction in the muscles, which squeezes also the spine and the little discs between the spine. So there's these little spongy discs that helps keeps everything open. But as soon as they're squeezed, for example, too much sitting, too much standing, weight also, or these emotions of fear or not being supported, it will contract that spongy tissue, and it will press on the nerves. And sciatica always comes from the lower back. It feels like it's in the legs, in the thighs, in the bum and things, but it's always coming from the lower back, because that's how the nerves innervate the legs. So again, the treatment would be to either go get some acupuncture or some remedial massage and things, but also to move and actually twists. Gentle twisting is the best thing, but also looking at whether, what is your posture? What is your weight? Are you exercising? Move a little bit.
Hi, Dipika. Jai Gurudev
Hi.
and thanks to Sarika. Okay. My simple question, what you shared, just like belief system changing. So you called some name, I forgot the name of what you learned, but can you just explain, or can you just focus on that so that everyone can understand what way you have learned, or what way you help others to make that change in belief system? If you can
Yeah,
little bit
sure.
explain it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. The system I learned, which is available actually to learn for anybody online as well now, I think, is called Theta Healing. And that is a woman that founded it based on her spirit, her connection with spirit, and understanding that we have the power to change everything all the time. And she worked with the belief systems, the idea that we have limiting belief systems that limit us. So she uses a method of testing with kinesiology, and she does it with this kind of finger kind of connection, right? If it's true, it stays. If it's not, other people also do this whole mind, like moving the arm. So kinesiology to test, is this belief system true or not? Now, over the years, I've become more intuitive, and I am slightly psychic, so I can see things, but I can also pick up things very clearly. I've opened that connection, that relationship up with my clients. And often I can just sense immediately that this might be the belief system playing out. And what I do is I bring it up to their awareness, because it's wonderful to have a system that clears the belief system for you, or that you clear the belief system yourself. But what I experience, and it's my experience, is that we need to keep on practicing. It doesn't just disappear like this necessarily. We have realizations about it, and then maybe we can start to see, oh look, this is that belief system that was playing out when I was doing this, and this is that same, and you start to make the connections of how that belief system has created your life experience so far. The way that I like to work with people is to say, look, you're now aware of this, and see how much it's affected your life. How would you like to be in this world? What would you like to replace that with? Because one of the problems with pulling a belief system, which is how I was taught, was pull it out and the whole pack of cards falls down. It's like everything crumbles. It's actually quite scary, because what if I pull something and in that moment they don't want it, because it's their whole sense of identity built on that. So just like all this that we've been talking about, slow, small steps to, okay, I'm running a belief system that says I'm not good enough. I have that, and I have been like, it's so small. It's a whisper in my ear now. But years ago, it would be so loud. Now it's a whisper. Now I go like the self-talk. So carry on. That's the remnants, the whispers of this belief system still talking. It is who it has made me who I am. It's not that I'm not good at what I do, but it limits my experience of joy. for example. So it's really a self-responsibility once you are aware of what is running, and then to keep on practicing step by step, slowly. But there are ways that people say you can pull it and clear it and things like this as well. I'm all up for that too.
Wonderful. Skin disease, autoimmune disease, how to go about it?
Okay, so an autoimmune disease from Chinese perspective is again this overstimulation of the nervous system. It's the body is attacking itself. And when the body is attacking itself, it means it's in fight or flight. Can't even say it anymore. Fight or flight. Okay. So it means that there's a high level of stress in the system where the body is having to just even release its tension through attacking itself. That's what they talk about cancer, right? It is something that occurs within us, and we are all susceptible to it because of the levels of stress that we carry. Now, is it for you? What's your name? Okay. So the autoimmune disease, I don't know if it's in conjunction with also like it's coming out in the skin, but if it's coming out in the skin, it indicates also that something is being released. The skin is always the last place for something to come out of the body. So if it's coming out in the skin, it's an indication that there's something going on inside that's quite stressful. And if it comes out as a rash, if it's red, it means there's fire in the system. If it comes out as itchy, it means there's wind. If it is sticky, it means that there's dampness. And based on that diagnosis, you would change certain things about your diet. But also it's connected to your ability to really receive life and digest and process it. You know, there's something in your body that's saying it's too much, I need to get rid of it. I don't know if that helps. I hope it does.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Dipika. Thank you
Hi.
for the wonderful session. I think every word is so precious. I I just I'm so overwhelmed to hear whatever you said, and so much connecting it to what Manoj ji always tells us, and whatever we are told all the time. Deepika, I have one question. While you were discussing about how your mother was in kind of a fear while she was carrying you, a similar kind of situation happened with me also. While I was carrying my son, that was 16 years back. I was I had a lot of complications in my pregnancy, and I was under a lot of stress and fear. Now I want to know, is there a is there something that I can do that I would not have uh, in case if I would have passed on, so that doesn't he doesn't carry it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I thank you for your lovely feedback and also for sharing this, because I think there's a sense of guilt as mothers that, you know, what has happened while we were pregnant might have affected our child forever, and what can we do about this? Luckily, as a boy, he won't have a womb in which to program the next child. This is a good thing. But secondly, is there something that, you know, you see now with what you've heard that he might be expressing as a child? Is there any fear that he has or any nervous tension that he has that you link?
He does mention at times that he gets anxious and he doesn't understand why, even at the
Yeah.
small things. And I can connect so many things which in your session I heard. And so, what is the way out? How can I? I feel like, is it all because of me, or what is? How can
No,
we?
no. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have you spoken to him about it? Have you sat down and
Um,
talked about your pregnancy with him and what happened?
yes, recently I did tell him, but not in this context. Generally, I was telling him that during that, in the middle of one of other discussion that we were having, that I had
Yeah.
I was under a lot of stress during that time.
So,
Yeah, sure. So, yeah. Ooh,
no,
yes, please
Shivangi,
go ahead.
we are running short of the time. So, but I'll just add on that see the how you are taking the guilt on yourself. There's nothing. It happened at your mother and then yours. It happened. So we don't keep that guilt, pass on the guilt, and you forgive yourself, love yourself, and then he'll love himself. That's simple as it can get. Okay. Of course, she will be of great help. All the medicines and the normal herbs will be help. We have one young student who wants to ask a question. We take his.
Yeah, I have one thing that I just want to share,
Please.
And you can feel free to contact me, because we can just have a 20-minute call as well and just go through a few things. But, we share what we call the morphogenetic field. I don't know what they might say from like in the ancient ways, but the modern way of talking about it is a morphogenetic field, which is this web that we are all part of. And as a mother and child, it's even stronger. So whatever you are experiencing, he will reflect, like we say, the mirror. So when I am calm and when I don't have guilt and I don't have shame, he doesn't have it either. So the more I work on myself and make sure I'm okay, and know that, like Manoj said, this is supposed to be this way and this was supposed to happen, etc., the more he will also stay calm. The more you talk to him, bring it into awareness. You two are connected, and he's still in your home. Everything is there. So find the peace in yourself. It will affect him, and then we can have a chat, and I can go deeper into maybe some techniques and things that you can do with him as well that can help reduce an anxiety.
Wonderful.
Thank you for the
I know.
question.
So I had a question. Take it as a hypothetical situation. So what if you have this one feeling where you feel like nothing is going your way, and you feel like the whole world is against you, and then you have that small guilt in you that what have I done? So how do you react to that?
I go back and I question myself and think, what am I believing about the world?
Something like everything. Every time you like try to think of it in a better way, something else goes wrong. Like it's something. Sometimes I feel like something's happening, and now sometimes it just gets in my way that I'm trying to get it off me, and it's getting off, but then next day something else shows up.
Okay. And what do you get out of each time that it happens? Do you learn from it?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So I see all of these, what we call blocks. I learned to pray to Ganesha to help me through these challenges, because challenges are part of life. And also at certain times of our life, there's going to be more challenges. And if you're receiving those challenges, it's, first of all, what am I thinking about life that I keep on creating these challenges and making it happen? Because I have this idea that every time this happens and I get better, something else happens. Maybe that's a belief system. But secondly, these challenges are coming in so you can take this as an opportunity for growth. And that, I always say, if you have those challenges and you have many of those, then it means that you can handle them and there's something much bigger for you. And that's what I used to tell myself, because I felt like life was always working against me. But it's also because I had to learn how to be strong and learn how to believe in myself, trust myself, and see that this is life. It's not that life is working against me, but I have to learn how to work through and with life and learn from all these amazing, challenging opportunities.
Wonderful.
Does that work? Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Yeah. He's with me also, and we interact quite a bit. So I had called him specifically to hear you out, and he had some challenges. So I said, come today and hear Dipika. Okay, that's how I got him.
Yeah.